Two-year-old Isaac Oehlers has been identified as the Australian killed in a major explosion in Beirut. In a statement, his family says, "We are heartbroken by the sudden and tragic loss of our beautiful boy following the disaster in Beirut. Isaac was 2 and will be deeply missed by family and friends." Lebanon's president has revealed he knew about a huge stockpile of explosives weeks before the city was reduced to rubble. External interference in the blast is now considered a possibility.
So I'll just give you a sense of place, the extent of the devastation. It's absolutely devastating. It's really actually quite hard to process when you are here for the first time on the ground. You can see behind me the charred, skeletal skyline of the city, extensive damage going well back. You can see structural damage on the first buildings. They'd have taken most of the shockwave of the blast. All of the windows have been blown out. But we are here now at the port. I'll show you some of the things that we're seeing on the ground here. We'll just move the camera around. Now, a big problem that Lebanon is facing at the moment is food insecurity. It imports 80% of its food. You can see packets of pasta here. These would have come in here to be distributed across the country. I'm just stepping through broken bags of rice. There's flies everywhere. You can see the containers over here. And we'll head over now to where the actual center of the explosion was. Now, the search and rescue teams, they are still working here. I was just speaking to the lead coordinator for the French team, and he was saying that, depressingly now, this is really just a recovery operation. They haven't completely given up hope that they may find somebody alive. It's hard when you look at this to see how, but in his words, he said it would take an absolute miracle for anybody to be alive. It has happened before. He pointed out that his team had done the earthquake in Haiti. People were taken out of the rubble and the debris there, 4 or 5 days afterwards. I know from covering other earthquakes, the Nepal earthquake, for instance, they found survivors 7 days after. But because the blast here was so huge, and you can see here, what they're looking for is gaps, places where people could survive. Now, there are rooms under there, but if you look over here, there isn't really anything. It's just sort of flat earth. Now, this is where the explosion happened. We'll just move you here. It's hard to believe. This here, where the water is, this was actually the side of the port. But what's happened is, with the detonation of the ammonium nitrate, it's just ripped a massive hole, which is now filled with water. Over here, have a look over there. Have a look over there. You can see scuba teams. They're going in. It's part of the recovery operation. We know that there are still plenty of people missing, and they'll be carrying out a search there. But all around here, absolutely ripped. Over there, you can see a massive ship that's just been capsized by this titanic blast which tore through the city. Now, there's protests planned for later today. People here are still hugely angry about what's happened because it's come on the back of an economic and political crisis. And for people living in this country, this is a symbol, really, of everything that has gone wrong with their governance. The corruption, the neglect, the siphoning off of wealth from public funds. Just turn the camera over here, and you can see more devastation. It's hard to know how, and this is what people keep telling us, how Lebanon could get back on its feet. There are protests planned for later today. We are expecting huge crowds to turn out to show their disgust and their utter contempt for the government. That's happening later. But the immediate need now really is for aid to come into the country. I was talking about the food insecurity. You need lots to come in here to make sure that there aren't shortages in the short term. But I suppose after that, the bigger focus of people's attention will be on political reform. How do you mend